Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, and do not adjust your set. It is dark out here. I'd like to introduce you to my lovely wife, Heather, and she's going to help us on the program here tonight. Friends, let me tell you what, this dedication, it is below freezing out here, but we're going to do a brief piece here on night shooting. And we appreciate everyone tuning in. Yes, we are down here by truck lights. We've only had one other program with truck lights. And like I said, this is not going to be the whole show, but we thought we might do this. I think it's going to be entertaining as well as educational. It is really dark down here. And unfortunately, many times when we might have to use any sort of gun, might be under less than optimal light conditions. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to have a great show for you today. And we're going to take a look at how difficult is it to shoot and reload and whatever else in the dark. So we'll be talking about other things later on in the program, but I tell you what, let's get another shooting show underway. We've got in fact, we got coyotes howling, we got airplanes coming over, we got your Mexican radio stations that are cutting in our audio, so you know, we don't like to do anything dull. Those of you who've watched the shooting show for a long time know that it's not dull. It's a lot of stuff, but dull is not one of them. Anyway, darling, would you like to open our program tonight?
I'd love to.
Well, you know, friends, we've been talking about these single-action handguns, and Heather really does like the Ruger 41 Magnum. And the good news is, even though it's a super powerful load, 900 foot-pounds of energy with this particular load, she can handle it real well. So let's let another shooting show begin. Got our water bottle over here. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Now, friends, of course, we've had Harold Terry on the program talking about night shooting, and I hope my hands hold up here, but you know what? If you have a facility available to you, it's a real good idea to go out at night, and if you're a new shooter, you darn sure don't want to go with by yourself or with other people who are not familiar with guns, because it is at night, and distances can change things, and safety is always the #1 priority. But if you're a police officer, you know, I've talked to police officers that have not had training at night. Well, guess when the most likely time that you might have to use your gun would be? Hey, guess what? In low light conditions or at night. Now then, as we had Harold Terry on the program a while back, and we've had other instructors, the best flashlight technique that I'm aware of, and here we have a 2-cell or 2 D-size battery mag light, and these are really good lights. We have several of them. We've always had good service out of them, and what I like about the mag light, it has an adjustable beam. You can adjust the beam size you want. But we're going to take a look here at how to shoot accurately in low light or in the dark with your flashlight. Now then, we're going to put our light wrist, and of course this would vary. If you're left-handed, you just reverse procedure, but we're going to put our gun hand over our wrist like so we can see our sights on the target. And if we can, we'll take a look at this through the camera, but you want to be able to see, and this is a semi Weaver type stance, because you can get darn good stability. In fact, you'll be surprised just how stable you can be on the target doing this. This is something that has to be practiced. Now then, something you darn sure don't want to do, and if I can get my light down here, I'm going to take the cylinder out of this Ruger single action, because I am flatly not going to do it. I'm going to take the cylinder and the bullets out and put them here in my pocket, because I'm just not going to show this. I'm not going to do it because I have live ammunition in the gun. So we have the cylinder is out on the gun. Now then, here's something you really want to watch for. You don't want to do this here. Get the light going and bring that gun up over your wrist, because you know what? If the muzzle of that gun if it happened to go off as it crossed your wrist here, guess what? One of these magnums will take your doggone hand off. So this is something, that's why we have to do some practice. You want to bring your gun up and your flashlight in underneath it, under it. You don't want to do this here That is an absolute no ifs, no ands, no buts. It's a no-no. You don't want to cross any part of your body with the muzzle of your gun, because if you had to shoot the gun at night, you might be nervous. It might be a semi-automatic or something. You might have your revolver cocked or something. I mean, who knows? And you don't want to bring that gun over any part of your body. Very, very important. You want to get you like so, like so. Bring your gun up like this. Get your gun up, and then your flashlight, your wrist underneath it. Very important. Friends, we got pitch black conditions as we speak, but I've got the proper stance with the light, and watch on the target. You'd be amazed how well you can hit the target. We've got a good center hit here. Now then, we're going to move. We're going to go to our next target, light on. Good center hit on both targets. It's really amazing what kind of accuracy that we can get. We've got 3 hits here. We've got 2 in the center here, 3 in the small circle at the top. Got another good center hit over here. It's really amazing how well you can shoot using this, and I believe this is called the Harry's stance. It really does a nice job. Now friends, you can see we really had some good accuracy. You'd be amazed just how well that you can shoot a gun at night. All you have to do to shoot well is to see the sights. If you can see the sights, hey, your target's supposed to be blurred anyway. We'd hope to have more light than this. But if you can see those sights. Some people have asked me about the use of lasers. I personally am not a fan of lasers on guns. I personally, for me, they have a tendency to slow me down. I like night sights better than that. However, if you have a good flashlight, and let me say this, I don't know everything. What works for me may not work for everyone else. That's why you have to get out and try this. If you have a laser sight and you like it and you're comfortable with it, I can see it as an intimidation factor for home defense. I can see the laser, if you had an intruder in your home, you put that dot on their chest, they would have real good reason to worry. And I could certainly see a use for them there. But it's whatever. You just have to go out and try these things. But if you have a good flashlight, these are relatively inexpensive, these mag lights. There are a number of other good lights that will be useful to you. What you need to do, you need to put every couple of, certainly once a month, on your calendar, make a note to yourself, check the flashlight batteries, check the batteries at least once a month, because you know the worst thing in the world, if you needed your light, whether you have an emergency or a storm or whatever else, the worst thing in the world is go to your flashlight and it is dead. A terrible thing to happen, because with a good flashlight, look, you can hit your target. We just proved that. In total darkness with a good flashlight, all you have to do is be able to see your sights. And you can do it. And you can do it rapidly. So something that we think is very important. If you got a good flashlight, check your batteries. You know, we've heard a lot about muzzle flash, and it's true, some powders are worse than others. But in one of my combat lessons years ago with Harold Terry, he says, Johnny, when you hold the gun up and you're sighted in, just before you pull the trigger, if you've got your front sight on the target, just before you pull the trigger, and I was using a very high, I was shooting a .357 Magnum, a lot of muzzle flash, and want to prevent night blindness here, or being blinded by the flash. He said, you know, you'd be surprised just what you can do. You can go ahead and point the gun, and you can in fact shut your eyes. Of course, Harold did this by looking away. If you get it pointed on the target, you can actually look away and hit pretty doggone close. In fact, I was just outside the circle. Again, though, that comes from knowing your gun. You can point it and look away even, and look, we have a dead center hit on the target because I'm familiar with the gun. You can actually point the gun. I'm going to turn you won't be able to see this. Point the gun in place and shut your eyes, and we have another hit in the little circle here. Friends, here was my first shot when I was looking back toward the camera. Here was the one that I shot when I looked away again. This is the one I shot when my eyes were closed. And as I have said dozens of times on this program, I don't have any special ability. It just comes down to a matter of practice, and you have to get used to handling the gun. You'll notice I'm shooting this single action here. I have really become a believer in the single action revolver for a whole lot of reasons. So they are super reliable, super dependable. But let's talk about reloading. In fact, let's do that since we're out here in the dark. Okay, friends, we've cut our lights down. Now then, I want to show you something. And you know, I like all kinds of guns, handguns, long guns, shotguns, whatever else. Here we have a very fine semi-automatic. We have a 1911 actually. And it's as good as any other semi-automatic. But we'll make a point here briefly. I think this is important. Go ahead and load it, put our safety on. Now then, want to show you something. Really big one. Tell you what, we're going to shoot at this target right here. And even with my light, I think I'll go ahead and use my light. All right, we're going to exaggerate this process a little bit because this may be one of the most important things you have ever seen on our program. Heather, you want to run over and turn those lights out, please, dear. Okay, now then, we've got our target. I've got my semi-automatic here, and let's see something. We're going to shoot this target right here. Now, everyone pay attention. This, trust me, this is important. All right, we've got our grip here. Here we go. Oh, and we've got a jam. Now then, I'm stuck here in the dark. My gun is jammed. I can't see my gun. Maybe I can see my light here. I don't understand what's the problem. Am I out of bullets? Do I have a stovepipe? What do I have? Very important. Okay, we're going to unload our semi-automatic, and our dark section here won't last too long, and we know it's unloaded. I know it is, having a fumble with it here. Okay, trust me, there is a point to this, and we're going to make it safe, and I'm going to check it again with my light. Realize this is taking a long time. If I was in a real life firefight, I would have some real problems. Okay, let's take our revolver and let's try the same drill. I'm in position here. Let me get my light, get my finger on my off on button. Okay, here we go. Now, oops, I had a click instead of a bang, but instead of having to run for it and see what's wrong with my gun, I pulled in back in business. Very important point. Friends, trust me, it is cold out here, but it's okay. You know, the important stuff, I don't care if it is cold. Heck, we've shot stuff in the rain before, but anyway, on my semi-automatic, the problem is if you have a malfunction in the dark, you know, you can't do the tap rack bang, tap your magazine in, be sure, whatever else, and rack your slide there flatly. And I like semi-automatics, but for a personal defense gun, if this is your number one gun, they're not as reliable as the good revolvers. Now then, yes, they are easier to reload. You can reload one of these in the dark. A lot of us that's a good feature. But if your gun malfunctions in the dark, you can't see if you've got a stovepipe or whatever else, you may not have. Time is something in a gunfight you simply do not have. I think that the deal about numbers of rounds, if you've got 5, 6, 7 rounds in your gun, realize these are not, it's not an AR-15, it's not something you would go out and attack in a battlefield. It's a defensive gun, something to settle a problem with a robber or a criminal, whatever else, someone trying to hurt you, to stop the fray. And I think that numbers of rounds are vastly overrated. Now, you can reload a semi-automatic quickly, but if something's wrong with the gun, if you have a catastrophic malfunction of some kind, well, you're pretty much out of the game. Whereas even on this revolver, with a little practice, you can load them in the dark. I don't have to look at you, but you can load these things pretty quickly. It takes a little bit of practice, like so, and now you're ready to go again. You can do it with practice. There is no substitute for practice. Trust me on this one. And we wanted to come out here tonight and show you some things that absolutely could save your life or someone you love or care about, certainly. That's what it's about.
Stay tuned for more of The Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today. See, friends, all you have to do, you see that front sight? And let's go up to our target and take a look. So we've got 6 holes there, friends. In low light conditions, like I said, all you got to be able to do is see your sights, or certainly practice enough with your gun to get a feel for it so you know where they're going to go. You know where those bullets will go, even if you can't see as well as you'd like to. See, it can be done. Well, friends, we hope you enjoyed our night shooting portion. That was really the education. And did you say something about my hat?
Yeah, I did. I said you looked like Randy Quaid in National Lampoon's Christmas.
Well, thank you so much. That was not one of my favorite characters, but you know what?
Well, thankfully you don't act like him.
Thank you. I was warm. It looked a little funny, but hey, I was definitely warm. Yeah. Well, friends, you know, we want to have certainly make an impression on the ladies out there because, for example, Heather has not been shooting that terribly long, but honestly, she is very enthusiastic about it. In fact, we're going to do a little brief demonstration today. We have the Ruger SP-101, which is a superior defensive type gun, and we have some 38 special ammunition. You can see there in your picture we have a 38 round nose, which the police carried for many years, next to a 357 Magnum, and then a 41 Magnum over on the right. And the reason we've included this 41 Magnum is kind of a remarkable fact here around this particular gun and Heather. that we'll show you in just a moment. But what we're going to do for you ladies out there who are wondering the difference in the 38s, and of course we're using a standard velocity 38 special that, again, this was a police load for many, many years. It was a 158 grain round nose lead bullet running along about 750 or 800 feet per second, and they just didn't have a lot of thump when they hit anything. Well, in fact, we have some water bottles set up out here, and would you like to do the honors for us, Dawn?
I'd love to.
Okay. Well, we'll shoot the first bottle with the 38 round nose, again, the old police load, and let's just see in Heather's hands today just what happens. Okay, we'll go in and take a closer look. Not much damage at all. It's going to run out, but that's about it. Now then, even out of this little gun, we have a full charge 357 Magnum, 125 grain jacketed hollow point, even out of that little Ruger, running about 1,300 or so feet per second. Let's take a look at it. Somewhat more dramatic. Now then, friends, there's a point to this. Realize that Heather is not a large person. She is about 5'4", and certainly a petite type person. But she's going to shoot this 41 Magnum single action with a maximum load in this little gun. It's 900 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. And I do find this interesting because we're going to find that a lot of people that are uncomfortable even with a double action type gun or with a semi-automatic, believe it or not, can shoot the single actions without it hurting their hand and shoot them well. Okay, darling, go ahead and let me stand back right ahead. And as you can tell, a very dramatic amount of power. So I think the single actions have really been overlooked as defensive guns, and for this reason. They're easy to shoot even with very powerful ammunition. The problem has been in the past when people of smaller stature were relegated to, say, 38 specials or 9mm or even 22s or 32s, something like that. Believe it or not, you can shoot the big single actions. You get a proper grip on it, and you can get a cartridge that is powerful enough that will not hurt your hand to really do a number on a target. So something we thought we might show you today anyway. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with a good friend of ours. This is Henry Martin, and some call him Dr. Martin because he is a show-enough gun doctor. Henry is a warranty station in our area here for several of the major companies, and certainly Henry has Martin's gun shop there in Shreveport, Louisiana. And we're going to show you a couple of things that I think you're really going to enjoy. Now, Henry, of course, we're out here at Henry's hunting camp. And, sir, you look more comfortable, in fact, than I do. I wish, you know, I really didn't come dressed for the part here today.
Right.
To partake. But, Henry, you have a couple of unique guns here. Now, tell us what this is.
This is a Winchester that was Model 70 and the push feed. Winchester designed it in a 22-inch barrel, sporter barrel, large barrel. And somehow or other they decided they wasn't going to put it on the market, and they pulled all these guns back.
Now,
and they took these barrels and the engineers experimenting with it, decided they was going to see if they could make it into featherweight. Well, I got word from the factory that they made 181 of them, and they said it's okay, we can handle it now. They had never tried to make a stainless steel featherweight rifle
on this particular action, like that.
And they found out they could, so they pulled the line down and started building this gun, changing the model number of it. They built it back into a 24-inch sporter, put them on the market. And now, next year or two, probably, let's see, it came out in '92. And in '96, they came out with a featherweight claw extractor.
So not on this action. This is the Winchester action they've had since 1964. Let me clarify something, friend. Now, Henry, not many people walking around know as much about guns as you do. And honestly, the previous Winchester action, not necessarily the pre-64 action, but those are good. These are good guns, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. I prefer the push feed to the claw extractor.
Because it's easier to unload.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a gun that don't have a full plate, then you got to push every shell all the way in the chamber to get the claw extractor to catch a hold of it. On this gun, all you have to do is break the magazine box and the shell will fall out.
And of course, friends, you got a little button here. In fact, let's take a closer look at just how the gun works.
The push feed is the claw, is the little extractor inside the bolt face. It floats, and it does not grab the shell until it gets all the way in the chamber. Therefore, when you pull back and you start to shove one in, you decide you don't want to, you can stop because it's broke the magazine box. It already came out of the magazine box, so you can dump it out in your hand without having to push it all the way in the chamber.
And show us how that magazine release works there, please.
Magazine release is pushed like that, and it falls open and your shells come out the bottom. That's the balance of the shells left in the magazine, so you don't have to go through the chamber with it, either one. And by shoving it back up in there, snap back and you're ready to go again. This featherweight barrel on this gun is the light featherweight, as marked on the side of the gun, featherweight, and a Winchester proof mark on it. So these were, after the first ones were run, they pulled the barrels and turned these 22-inch barrels down to featherweight and made them into these guns on experiment. Actually, the guns were not supposed to leave the factory, but they slipped out, and I found out about it, and I bought a bunch of them.
Now, Henry, honestly, now you've got several of these guns left. You bought the ones that were actually not supposed to leave the factory, and some of you Winchester collectors out there. Henry, would you possibly sell these guns to somebody wanting one? You got several left, 30-06 caliber.
I have sold some of them, and I got a few more to sell.
Well,
Be glad to sell them.
if we have a Winchester collector out there, of course, honestly, how do these guns shoot?
I shoot this one at a 3/8-inch group right here in our shooting range, and it'll hold it.
Now that's at 100 yards?
That's a 30-06. 270, I haven't shot it for a group, but my son shoots it, and he's killed several deer with it.
So we know they're super accurate guns. In fact, because these were factory experimental guns, they might be a little slicker maybe than some of them you'd find on the dealer's shelf, huh?
Could have. They seem to be a lot easier, a lot better on the trigger. I won't say easier, but they're smoother on the trigger than a normal gun you pull off the shelf.
Because it was an experimental run. Friends, if some of you would like to have one of these stainless steel featherweights, of course they come without the scope. But Henry, how can they get in touch with you? Let's give your phone number.
That's 318-797-1119, Shreveport.
Okay, again, that's area 318-797-1119.
Yep.
So who knows? May have somebody out there, because there are a lot of Winchester collectors out there. Curiosity, since we're here just for fun. Now, friends, on your screen here, you'll see on your right a 270 caliber bullet, and on your left you'll see a 30-06. Now, the 270 cartridge on the right has a different weight bullet from the 30-06, but you'll notice that the cases, as far as length and size, are absolutely identical. Henry, why the 270 actually is a necked down 30-06. The 270 is what, a 277 thousandths bullet, is that correct?
Correct.
And the 30-06 is 308 thousandths. Well, does that really make a difference in how the gun shoots flat or in recoil?
Seems that the 270 shoots flatter than the 30-06. I mean, it's got 30-06 bullet being heavier, bigger, shoots a little higher at 100 yards. If you got it sighted in at 200 yards, you're a little higher at 100 yards than you are with the 270, same sighted in at 200 yards.
So there's enough difference to tell the difference.
It is, but it wouldn't interfere with you shooting.
Right.
Yeah, to hit your target.
Well, out of curiosity, does a deer know whether he's been hit by a 270 or a 30-06?
I would think not. Then he wouldn't be too concerned about it.
Well,
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, when is a plastic bag better than a cardboard box? Well, I can tell you when it's full of Georgia Arms premium quality ammunition, whether it be for your rifle or for your handgun. Let me remind you that Georgia Arms is the only available source that I know of for factory 45 auto rim ammunition. Also, they have a selection of 45 Winchester Magnum ammunition that I'm really not aware of you can get anywhere else. Certainly the variety they have, the quality they have is unsurpassed in the industry. And you know what else, friends? When you see a bag of Georgia Arms ammunition, they're helping to keep this program on the air. So please give them a call. You get a free call, free catalog. Please, for our sake as well as your own, give Georgia Arms a call for one of their catalogs for their terrific ammunition, be it for a pistol, revolver, or a rifle. Supporting us on this project. The good news is you can get absolutely superior ammunition at discount prices, whether you have a handgun or a rifle. If you want to take that big hunt, you can afford to practice with your rifle as well as use that same ammunition on the hunt because they are so reasonably priced. These are some of the nicest people we have ever met in this business, bar none, and they're down in beautiful Villa Rica, Georgia. So please, friends, if you would, you can get a free catalog with a free phone call. That's as good as the deal gets. A free catalog, free phone call, 1-800-624-6861. Again, Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861. And please tell them you saw it here on our shooting show.
Concerned.
Well, I think what we're saying here is there are some trajectory advantages, and certainly a 270 will shoot a smaller diameter, a slightly longer bullet, I suppose, a little bit flatter, maybe for long range. In fact, there's not a lot of difference in a 270 and a 7mm Remington Magnum, is it?
Well, it's the same, I believe, about it.
Just about the same size, but the 7 mag will run a heavier bullet than a 270 has. Tell you what, Henry, I appreciate you taking time to visit with us, friends. And you're saying that really, if somebody has a chance to buy an earlier model Winchester, just because it's not a pre-64 type, does not mean it's not a good gun, right?
That's correct. Right.
In recent years, since the same people that own Browning now own Winchester, we don't know what's going to happen with ownership of that, but didn't you tell me a while back that in recent years you have seen a quality improvement in Winchester?
I have. Since the company acquired U.S. Repeating Arms, I'm not sure how they got it done, but it seemed like you get better service out of them.
Better service.
Quicker with your parts orders, and they also, the quality of their guns are picking up.
What you're saying, that maybe the metal quality or machining quality is a little bit nicer?
I'd say the machine quality.
Machine quality.
Metal would probably be the same thing. They're just taking a little more care with it now.
Well, I tell you what, friends, from a pro here, just a little information we thought you'd be interested in, and whether you've got a 270 or a 30-06, they're both very fine calibers for most stuff that you would hunt here on the North American continent. And if you would be interested, and Henry, you've got, I don't know, 3 or 4 of these guns left, the featherweight experimental models, very collectible, and give him a call down there if you'd like, and I'm sure you'd be well pleased with the gun, wouldn't you say?
Well, if they want to put it in a box to set it up, I was told at the factory that they'd be worth some money. Just hold on. And I've sold several to collectors, also sold several to people that shoot them. And as far as me, I'm not a collector, but I love to help anybody out I can.
Okay. Well, sir, we appreciate it.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying our program. I'm joined by my good friend and fine gentleman, Leroy Scott here. And I think I can say for both of us and everyone on this project, we want to wish all of you a happy and prosperous and more productive New Year. Sir, would you second that motion?
Especially a prosperous one.
Well, it'll be different. I hope we can, but it'll be different. Well, friends, we've had an interesting year for 1997 as far as things that happened. Judge, you want to paraphrase, how do you think we fared as gun owners in 1997?
I think our rights have been eroded considerably. Although the NRA here is pretty much saying that everything's okay. I look on it completely differently. There were some small victories. One of the things was in Washington State, where a victory was obtained. It was such a blatant effort on the part of the anti-gunners to seize power and control that it got defeated. I was curious about how the election came out, and the next day I tried to read about it in the newspaper, and I knew that we'd won because the newspapers didn't report it at all. Nothing. Mm-hmm. And it took several days for me to find out what had actually happened. By 71% to 29%, that initiative on the part of Washington State anti-gunners was defeated. It was a vicious amendment, the details of which I don't need to recount, but it was bad, it was vicious, and it was soundly defeated once people found out what it was about.
Well, you know, Judge, you and I both have some reservation with some of the things about the NRA, but do you think them getting Charlton Heston is going to help our overall efforts to keep guns in our homes?
Well, Charlton Heston has a big following and is a very vocal spokesman for gun rights, and I think, yes, it probably will help. I hated to see it at the expense of the man he defeated for the job,
Neil Knox,
because Neil Knox is a good man. But the election of Charlton Heston as first vice president, I think it was, of the NRA, is definitely a victory because he is a very erudite spokesman.
Well, and we really do hope, you know, we have some differences with those folks, but hey, we're in this thing together. As we've said for years, a lot of the gun owner organizations, if we could just work together better than we have in the past, I think it'd be great. You know, we've extended olive branches more times than not, and I think some of these folks, some of these organizations out there, since they didn't invent gun TV, since they hadn't been able to do it themselves, they hold a little bit of resentment toward us, and I think that's ridiculous. I think that is absolutely silly because they want to, you know, judges, there was a country song years ago by the Oak Ridge Boys that said, no one wants to play rhythm guitar behind Jesus, and I think there's a lot of truth in not many people want to work on. Everybody wants to be in charge and take credit for leading and leading the charge, but somebody, you know, we've got to have some folks in the battle here. And certainly as far as we go, we've tried to support everybody that we could. Anything that was pro-gun, we have certainly tried, which brings us to an important point. You know, friends, the reason that we have to come to you every week and ask for donations for money is because the industry has not supported us as we wish they would have. And you know, the anti-gun people, there are a lot of people that wish we were off the air. The anti-gun people have done everything possible at local cable levels, at national levels, just like we were taken off the Outhouse channel over a year and a half ago, simply because they would not let us tell the truth and keep us on the air. We hear this constantly, but hey friends, somebody has got to tell the truth about gun issues, and we've got to do it on television. Now, we're here today due to a large part of your contributions. You out there, you folks, and the bad news is not very many of our viewers either can't afford to help, or they think we as conservatives many times are as conservative with our billfolds as we are with anything else. And they say, well, somebody else will contribute. Yeah, somebody will send money. Well, guess what? Not very many people do. Enough of you have, and thankfully we've gotten these $10 checks and $20 checks, sometimes 150, sometimes 200. We've had a few for more than that. We hadn't had any vast amount come in, but they mount up and they have helped keep us on the air. If you can help the shooting show stay on television, and we're still working, we're going to turn over as many stones as it takes about increasing our programming. We have to do it. We're going to meet with as many people, talk to as many people as we have to to get our gun-friendly programming network eventually. Heck, I don't know how long it'll take. It may take this year, next year, 5 years, I don't know. The problem is, friends, every day that goes by and these anti-gun people meet in Washington and in the state houses and the local levels, every day that goes by, we're losing some gun rights. Friends, if you can help this project, help our shooting show stay on the air, and the name of the game is cash. That's all it takes. If we got programming, we just don't have cash. If you can help us, please send whatever you can to the shooting show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code is 71024. You know, every nickel that comes in here, as we've said before, when you give to an organization, some of these charities and things, you wonder where your money goes. If you give to this project, you can see where your money goes because it keeps us on the air. That's what it's about. And looking down here, we appreciate these folks that send us the vast amounts. We get a huge amount of information coming into the program. But right now, Judge, you and I were reading something here on a man from New Hampshire there. And the state motto of New Hampshire is called "Live Free or Die." Well, there's a story here of a gentleman named, Carl Dugas, that literally got crossed up with the bureaucracy from essentially trying to repair his yard, but one bureaucracy after another persecuted him and had a very sad ending. But you know, Judge, I think this is why the anti-gun people, the Clintonians, the New World Order people are so adamant in trying to disarm us, because they pushed this man so far and he snapped and he went after some of the bureaucrats, and several people did not survive, including the man there, Carl, from New Hampshire. But he was standing up for what he believed was right. And don't you agree, the further they push us there, the bureaucrats are afraid, aren't they, Judge?
Well, they're afraid of an armed populace, of course, and that's the reason why the gun control people are so adamant in their attitudes. This article begins by saying, "You will begin to understand how deeply the region of my birth lies in bondage to the cult of the omnipotent state."
Now you want to spread that out in plainer language.
The cult of the omnipotent state. In other words, if government does it, it's okay.
Well, we don't agree with that. And Judge, let me ask you something. Of course, you actually participated in the Navy in World War II, and we're reminded regularly about the Holocaust, which I think we need to be reminded about the Holocaust. What happened to those Jewish folks? Let me ask you something, Judge. When they were herding those Jewish Germans on those cattle cars, if those folks if they had anything to fight back with, I don't believe they'd let themselves be taken. Do you?
Well, I don't think they would either. But you know, the Germans didn't let them know that that's what was happening. The Germans said, "Be careful to mark your baggage so that on your return that you'll be able to properly claim it." Mm-hmm. And there wasn't any return.
There was no return.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Now, friends, here it is. This is the great 1919 Browning converted to semi-automatic from the good people at NWI. This is your chance to own a real piece of history. They're very collectible. They're also a lot of fun to own and shoot, and very reasonably priced, certainly for what you get. The 1919 Browning is from NWI. That phone number, area 503-429-5001. They also have the ammunition special still going on. 30-06 ammunition, only 18 cents a round, surplus in the belt. So give them a call today, NWI, for the great 1919 Browning conversion. Also remember, they have the A6 conversion with the shoulder stock and the bipod. But these are tremendous pieces of history, also great shooters. So give them a call today, the 1919 Browning from NWI, area 503-429-5001.
And friends, let us remind you, they now have a version available in .50 Browning caliber. In fact, in the current issue of Guns and Ammo magazine, you can see and read the full test on it. So it's a tremendous piece of history that will be available for a while. We don't know how long. Give them a call. Again, area 503-429-5001, and please tell them you saw it here on our program.
The people that want to do away with our Bill of Rights, and I hope you folks saw our gospel show this morning, because I read what happened to the original 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence. I hope that you folks saw that this morning, because it is not something easily done. And friends, if we don't stand up against, we're being lied to at every corner. What would it take, Judge, to do something about the den of thieves in Washington? What would they have to do to get impeached? I don't know. What would they do?
I don't think there's any crime that they are likely to commit that would get them impeached. I'm pretty much in favor of the libertarian government, the libertarian movement, except that they want to legalize drugs, and I can't buy that. But the libertarians have a pretty good idea that the less government there is, the better off you are. I think I'm a libertarian that's disguised as a Republican in most things. Anyhow, this is a 5 or 6 page article. And there's not much that you can say on it to briefly do it, except that Mr. Dragas was trying to protect his property rights, and now they seems to be that there isn't any private property rights. It's all a matter of what the government wants to do to you.
Well, we've seen example after example with Bureau of Land Management out west, all sorts, the wetlands. I think the wetland situation has been used to a point of being ridiculous. And we're seeing here from the U.S. News and World Report, the government is terrified of terrorism threats at home, and what they want to do is lump all the anti-government people together into being neo-Nazis or something like that, and that's ridiculous.
Oh, that's true, Johnny. And this article in U.S. News and World Report emphasizes that. All they've done is to stack on neo-Nazis and try to lump them all together. If you're anti-government, you're a neo-Nazi. And that's ridiculous.
Flatly not true. And right now, as we see, there's over 900 groups being investigated by the FBI. Hey, friends, you know what? When you start boiling the pot, when you start boiling the water, it bubbles up first. It starts to boil first out on the edges of the container. It starts bubbling out there, and we're seeing some of the fringe groups that are starting to bubble over. We've said this before. When these folks who want to control every aspect of our lives, they want to take us out of large cars, out of trucks, out of sport utility vehicles, because we have too much freedom. They want to they want to shut literally our economy, shut our industry down with this climate change protocol that Clinton and Gore, and I hope this is Al Gore's undoing. I hope so. He's hitched himself to this climate change protocol. It will cripple the United States of America. These folks here, you know, back in the 50s, Judge, and I remember the 50s very well, 50s and 60s, there were a few anti-war groups in the 60s that certainly would bear watching, but there were not groups of anti-government people that were looking for ways around. This wasn't going on back then, was it?
I don't think so, Johnny. Not in the sense in which you put it. It was pretty anti-government, though. It was anti-Lyndon Johnson, anti-Congress, and anti-Vietnam War, headed by Hanoi Jane, who's now married one of the richest men in the world, and I guess is well financed for all of the troublemaking she can do.
Including giving the United Nations $1 billion, which Ted Turner, boy, isn't that great? He's going to give a godless New World Order organization $1 billion to help them along their way. Yeah, Ted Turner is very thankful for the American system. He's really trying to support that.
That's certainly true, Johnny, and I think enough is said about that. That's self-proving.
Well, the problem is, friends, what we're saying is since there's so much intrusion now trying to disarm, de-right all of us, people are getting upset about it. And this is why the push is on to disarm all of us so we cannot stand against a police state. Now, that's what it's about. Now, we don't want to see any altercation come, but you know what? They're pushing and they're pushing and they're pushing for complete control, and that's what this disarmament thing is all about. If you want to help keep our information coming out across these airwaves on television, please help us if you can. Please do. Please send whatever you can to the Shooting Show. Again, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dublin, Louisiana. That zip code 71024. Our phone number, 318-377-5189. Hey, friends, this is not going to go away overnight. This is a battle. We've been in it 7 years now. This is, in fact, we'll start our 8th year on January 15. We'll begin our 8th year of national broadcasting about shooting about these gun issues, and we desperately need your help to stay on because this has got to be done.
You know, I've tried to tell people before, and I'm very serious about this. Johnny is not just talking about this. He has walked in these shoes. Johnny has impoverished himself and has spent his entire inheritance and spends all of his time on this without any hope. I say not without any hope, but with little possibility of financial gain for himself. We're trying to tread water, and really, Johnny has walked in these shoes and has done the best he can with what he has, and he does need help.
Well, I appreciate it, Judge, but it's for all of us, friends, for myself included, all of us. That's what this thing is about. So, hey, we're gonna stay in here pitching. We're gonna do everything possible. We're gonna stay on as long as we can. If something happens, we go off the air. We're gonna try and get back on, but hopefully we won't have to go off. Well, friends, we appreciate you being with us today. We have a couple of things we want to talk about, one of which is the most fantastic lubricant cleaner, corrosion preventive, the most fantastic spray that we have ever seen, ever heard of, and that is, of course, the fluid film. You know, it's good on leather, it's good on the doors on your car, it's good on your battery terminals, it's good to keep your guns from rusting, it's good to clean your guns about darn near anything. We've never seen anything like it. It's the longest lasting lubricant that we have ever encountered. You can buy this through the program. We will send out 2 large cans. This is a small sample can here, but we'll send you 2 of the large 11 3/4 ounce cans for only $19.95. That covers shipping and handling. And trust me, you will not be disappointed. We're having reorders now from people that order this stuff, and it is most remarkable. Fluid film, we thank our good friend Bill Lewis for helping us on this, because we get a little something off this. Not a lot, but a little, and certainly doing a service. Also, we'll be back on the American Freedom Network, hopefully as early as this coming weekend. You know, they're on GE1 Channel 7, 5.8 audio. They have really come a long way since the fire in the studio, and we hope to be back up with our radio show. Of course, they have wonderful programming the entire time. And we want to welcome someone new to our support group. It's Flying Horse Enterprises. They're in Union Grove, Alabama, and we have Deborah Sutherland, and she is a wonderful artist and has all kinds of very neat paintings there. We appreciate them joining our support group because certainly anything we can generate here for the project helps us stay on the air. We want to mention our good friends at Advantage Outlet for discount prices on Spyderco and Cold Steel knives, and their number is 1-800-561-1719. I guess I could give Flying Horse Enterprises number. Again, back to Flying Horse, their phone number is area 205-498-5914 for Flying Horse Enterprises. We want to mention our good friend Dennis Crocker. He is a firearms instructor there in South Carolina. Dennis is authorized to go throughout the state and train people in the use of firearms. He covers basic pistol protection and concealed carry, and his number is area 864-587-8722. Again, 864-587-8722. Our friends Dennis and Jeannie Ritchie with Custom Leatherwork and Saddlery, all kinds of leather work on holsters, on saddles, bridles, tack, harnesses for guide dogs, specialty shoe repair. You can call them area 504-667-9225. Again, area 504-667-9225. Want to mention our good friends at Clark Custom Guns in Keithville. Any sort of work on 1911 pistols, on revolvers, on Ruger 22 rifles, and they have a number of a tremendous stock on hand. Their number is area 318-949-9884. Again, 318-949-9884. And we have our friend James Calhoun Bullets. He has custom bullets in 22 and 17 caliber. He's there in Montana. You can give him a call for his custom bullets, area 406-395-4079. Again, area 406-395-4079. Friends, we ask you, if you can, to please help us stay on the air. We'll see you on the next show. Try one more thing here. Load 4 more in our 357, and no, it's not hurting my hand. A lot of the gun games or shooting games will have us shoot 2 on each target, 2 and 2. For a lot of applications, that is not the best idea in my estimation, but if that's what the drill calls for, we'll shoot 2 on here, 2 on here. All right, let's use our Model 19. Let's see how it looks. Okay, 1.38 hundredths, and our hits within our